Hello, it's me in the dark again. I just feel like I need to clarify a few things because I had no idea that my video suddenly, it was doing so well. Like, all of a sudden, I had not obviously expected that someone with such a weird little channel as me, but yeah, it's quite mind-blowing. I was like, did someone post this on Reddit or something? What is going on? But yeah, I obviously was kind of getting in like not a panic attack, but just like, wow, that was just all of a sudden all these views are coming in, which I'm grateful for. Like, thank you so much that many people out there are like listening to me. It passed like 100 views, which for me is a pretty big deal, as you can tell. And so yeah, I just feel like it'd be good to do a follow-up video because that video was actually posted exactly a month ago. So if you know me, I love just posting videos when there's like a coincidentally 1 month later, that sort of thing. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, so yeah, it just happened to be like, yeah, but now there's just been all these obviously videos coming in, and that's probably why people clicked on my video, because about Johnny, finally the truth was revealed. The truth being that he was a liar. Ironic, right? And so, yeah, a lot of people, a person commented like, you were right this whole time. And I was like, oh, thank you. But I don't really think I didn't really say in the video, admittedly, that Johnny is lying and I have proof or anything like that. Yeah, I was just more like saying like Johnny needs to stop talking about it and stuff, which I'm glad people came along to agree with, because at first there was just some dislikes. And obviously that's completely fine because we didn't know that at the time, that the truth was going to come out the way it was. But yeah, it was very, I'm just as shocked as you guys. I feel so sorry for Adam. Like, to have that second person do that to you when you already had to deal with one, like, how is he supposed to go forward and trust anyone? Like, if I were him, I would just like completely not be able to trust anyone really, because if you've just been betrayed twice, like, he does not deserve this at all, and my heart goes out to him, honestly. It's just like awful. How could someone like Johnny, as older as him, just do that to him? It's like, it's unforgivable, honestly, that he's that type of person. So I thought I would try and make a video just sort of explaining my past video, I guess. Because I did title it this like funny title, like Johnny, get your gun. And I think that's kind of what drew a lot of people to the video. My plan sort of worked. But it originally comes from a Sleater-Kinney song that I really love. Sleater-Kinney is one of my favourite all-time bands. If you look through my channel, you could just see that there's either two videos. There's either Sleater-Kinney videos or the Strokes videos, because they're like two of my favourite bands. So one of their Sleater-Kinney songs, Entertain, I just feel like really related to this whole situation. And that song was like released 15 years ago. No, like 17 to 18 years ago. Way before, obviously, we knew all this YouTube crap and like YouTubers and drama, and well, this is beyond drama, but all this like stuff happening. They wrote that. The amazing thing is that they wrote this song before having any knowledge of all of that. And this song obviously still holds up because it's just so relatable. Not only because it has Johnny in the lyrics, obviously that's the reason. Because they say, Johnny, get your gun, which is like, also I searched it up and it's like a book. It's a famous book and movie. I love to read it as well, because that could obviously give some deeper meaning. If any of you guys have read the book or watched the movie, it's like a really old, I think, like 1970s or something like that. Please comment or something or tell me a bit about it, because I'd love to read it or watch the movie. But yeah, I'm not just saying it's like a connection because it has Johnny in the lyrics, but the song Entertain is a perfect example of what today's sort of image, the way we see people, has become. And yeah, I just feel like it's such a great song. Like, they are so underrated. as musicians. Like, I wouldn't blame you if you'd never heard of this band, because I didn't either until like really recently. They are just completely, just really great icons, and I don't want to say like the greatest band of all time, because that could be kind of difficult to process. They have been called that before, which was quite remarkable, honestly, for a band as little known as them to be like told by one of the most well-known music critics of the time that they were the greatest band. And obviously that really holds up, because they were singing about what a lot of other bands weren't really singing about. And originally, people like me first saw the song as just kind of a diss at like bands like Interpol and The Strokes, and like they did not like those bands, and I could clearly understand why, because those bands were not really singing about anything that important. Or Sleater-Kinney always had a clear ideal of what their songs were about, like sexual harassment, like women being assaulted at concerts, I just said that, like gender inequality, that sort of stuff. But don't call them a feminist band for 1 second. That's where there's division. Never call them a feminist band. They were just as great as these male bands were, and they just had better than them. The only difference is they had a clear goal and a clear idea, vision in mind of their songs. And Entertain is just a perfect example of that, because it is technically about their disappointment at all those bands not singing about anything interesting. But what it was mainly about is how they like I said, they wrote it like a decade ago, but they still knew that the way social media was just starting, people were just making up information, obviously fabricating stuff. The influencers were just starting to be a thing, you know. There was already like it girls and stuff. They were singing about, like nothing really, everything is just for entertainment, essentially. Whether it's music, art, TV. Reality TV is a perfect example, So, and the fact, and in one of like the first verse, it says like, how does it go? Sorry. Something like, they are lying and I'm lying too. Can't you see it's just a silly ruse? They are lying and I'm lying too. And that is obviously just a perfect example that you can't really trust anyone, no matter how trustworthy they are. And I think it's just, like, I'm not saying that Adam is not telling the truth. I'm completely on Adam's side. But people like Johnny and Cody and all these people who are doing it for their own benefit, they might obviously just agree with the story, but they would change it a little bit to fit their narrative. And I think it's obviously common sense, but we kind of forget about that in a way, obviously, when we're dragged into this sort of stuff. It's easy. Like for me, I completely trusted those people and then learnt that they were completely like arse-hats, obviously. Don't know how else to explain it, really. But yeah, it's just, that song is just like, I really want more people to listen to that song. It's obviously not a song for everyone. Some people might not like that loud rock sort of song. But it's just, more people need to hear it. Because, don't take it from me like, I did not write the song. I'm just talking about it. Like, these people need a lot more credit because they just kind of predicted everything that was going to happen. Obviously without any knowledge of the co-lead or any of this stuff, but they still knew that everything, there's always going to, everything in the end is just entertainment, no matter how serious it may seem. Like, I was talking to my dad about this whole thing, and my dad is pretty blunt, I guess, admittedly, as a person. He's just like, he says a lot of stuff that obviously I wouldn't agree with. Like, that's a bit Are you sure? You're like, you might not really understand the situation. But he obviously does say some stuff that I can sort of agree with. From someone like my dad who has absolutely no interest in this stuff. My dad said to me, and this is probably going to surprise some of you, I know it's so deep. He said, none of this is going to matter. Do you realise that? He said, none of this stuff is going to matter. Like once after I was watching obviously one of Adam's videos, he obviously wasn't like saying that Adam is not telling the truth. All of this is bullshit. I did say in the last video that he does think it's just for his own benefit. But he did have a point there, and he just said, none of this is going to matter. And yeah, I said, he's like, can't you see, like, none of this stuff will make a difference. It's not gonna, it doesn't help anyone. It's just all this stuff that's being created on this whole internet that everyone outside of the internet has no idea about, and no one outside, obviously, of YouTube, whether it's the viewers or the people making the videos, no one's going to think about it. And it's obviously, you could say that about anything, like, we're all going to die one day, none of this is going to matter. But what my dad said really, really struck me there. It doesn't mean that all this stuff is taking away the importance of this situation. Like, I still feel like not enough people are talking about this, whether it's the news networks or anything like that, you know? I still want this situation to be more broadly covered because I feel like it's done. But I had to agree with my dad on that because it's just like, once the story just gets turned into like this sort of narrative chasing stuff, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't. You can see every time I drop my camera, I'm like, every time a car comes past, I'm self-conscious. But it's just all there is, really. And then once you start thinking about that, you're like, you obviously feel a bit down. And I wouldn't blame you. Like, I was like, Dad, you can't just take away the seriousness of this incident. But also at the same time, I was like, yeah, is it real? Like, obviously I got really annoyed by a lot of the articles. Like, obviously people who don't really know much about this sort of thing are probably going to treat it as, this doesn't really matter, this isn't important compared to all the other stuff that's going on. I think if they obviously did have a bit more of a broader idea of what was happening, they would obviously say they treat it just as serious as other things. But yeah, I don't really think that it's like really neat. Like a lot of news articles are like, this shouldn't be discussed, this is not important. They did a whole front page article on it in one of the newspapers my dad's gets, which was a huge big deal for me because it was like, I did not expect any of this to be in the newspaper. I'm pretty sure it's the only time it's actually been in print. Like, obviously there's a lot of articles about this that have been in the like online newspapers. Obviously it's easy to, on a blog, to write about this, type it up, post, but to actually have it in print was pretty remarkable, and I had to obviously take a photo of it and actually still have it hung up in my room. Is that weird to put a news article up in your room? Because that's just how, to me, it was just so incredible that was actually happening. But obviously the person writing the article did something I didn't really agree with, and he said, at the end he said, does any of this matter? Again, that could sort of be agreed or disagreed with. But then again, that was what my dad was saying. Like, he just turned to me, like, very vividly. And he said, none of this is going to matter. Do you realise? Just said it kind of casually. None of this stuff is going to matter. Do you realise that? He wasn't really saying it in, like, a patronising manner, although some people could take it as that. I guess my dad is just, people are always got to take it like that unless there is obviously a court case or it really gets taken further into the grand scheme of things, as we're all waiting for. Obviously, it's easy to treat any of this as drama because nothing has happened yet. It might be happening as I speak, but I was kind of annoyed for a while because I was thinking, when is this going to be taken to court? But then that kind of takes away the serious nature of it, because it turned out, it just proved that me, unlike everyone else, like most people, I was just waiting for the entertainment to happen. I was just waiting for the court case, which for me and many other people was really entertaining, obviously, because someone who used to be my favourite YouTuber is going to court. Like, obviously, that's pretty exciting. Like, I think we could all say inside of ourselves, as much as we like to say, this is not a joke, this is not a fun thing. It obviously is kind of entertaining, because like we saw with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, obviously heaps of like people on social media just love to talk about it, give their commentary. It was all just for show in the end. Whether it even was for obviously the two people involved, that's up for debate. But it's just in the end, I think they were just doing it because all their fans and their supporters were just, that's all they wanted, was just this entertaining sort of thing. There's a big bright light so you could see a bit of my face now. But yeah, I think we kind of missed the point there. So I'm not going to deny that, like, as a person, as a human being, just like the rest of us, I'm kind of in it for the entertainment. I think we all are. I really want to see this go to court. I want to see Colleen behind bars. That would be not a dream come true. I don't want to say that, but it would just be like so unbelievable that it's happening. And so we're all waiting for that. And so far it hasn't happened yet. So we just kind of, I think that's all we want really, is just to see obviously the end outcome. But I was like, obviously kind of pissed off about it for a while, because I was like, why isn't Adam doing anything? Like, why isn't he taking this to court? He has all the power in him. He could do, like, yeah, I was just having those thoughts. But then I watched Peter Mon's video. I don't really know much about him, but I watched one of his videos. And he was saying, look, these kids, remember, these people are still, like, basically children, because they don't want to just spend the rest of their lives taking this to court. No one wants that. And so yeah, I just kind of forgot that for a sec, even though I am literally younger than them. But I was like, hang on, yeah, they are grown up, but they're still very young. Who would want to spend the rest of their lives going to court, dealing with all this legal saga? They don't deserve that. They deserve to live their lives as normal people, like me. They deserve to be nobodies. They deserve to have no one know their identity. So I feel so sorry for Adam. His whole life has basically been taken away from him because of this incident. He has to revisit his whole past, all because of the thoughts and feelings of one person, which we learnt later turned into two people. Namely, in case you didn't know, Cody and, I forgot his name, Cody and Johnny. That's how much he's not a person to me anymore. I don't even know his name. So yeah, it just basically turned into this crazy media circus. And we just got to remember that these people need to live their lives, and including me, I need to remember that these people are actually people, just normal people. I shouldn't be waiting for them to do something, although that's what I would like to see. But it does matter, but at the same time, like my dad said, none of this will matter. And this is the type of way I talk to like my dad, and he'd say, just shut up, you sound really dumb right now, do you realise? And maybe I probably do, but it's just a reminder, I guess. And I really hope Adam is doing okay. Again, thank you all for watching my video, liking, commenting, disliking. Continue to do that, please. I really hope I haven't just showed a bunch of street sides. Hope my camera's blurred that out, but yeah, stay strong at it.